house, rehab center. There was a sign, and the sign said, "The elevator to recovery is broken. Please use the 12 steps." In life, there's no shortcuts. We have to take the work, do the work to achieve our goals. There's no fast tracking it. This week's parsha, the Jewish people received the Torah. And one of the laws, one of the instructions God gives Moshe to instruct the Jewish people is, Hishama Lacha, be careful when they surround the mountain to get the Torah, Alos Bahar, to go onto the mountain, Unageya Bikatseu, or to touch the edge. No one should touch the mountain. No one should touch the edge of the mountain. Nobody should go on the mountain. Warn the Jews not to touch or go on the mountain. So the Kotzker Rebbe gives a different shot, a different interpretation. He says, guard yourself. Warn the Jews lest they only touch the mountain. In life, when there's a mountain, don't just touch the edge of the mountain. Make sure you climb all the way up to the top of the mountain. Many times in life, we get inspired and we want to touch the mountain, and we do touch the mountain. But that's all we do. We just touch the edge. We don't make the trek to the top of the mountain. When you have inspiration, you're motivated to do something, don't just start, but finish. Climb to the very top. And King David takes it a step further. He says, even when you get to the top, Miyala Bahar Hashem, who can ascend on the mountain of God? Umiyakum, but who can remain standing in this holy place? Many times we just touch the edge of inspiration. We do a good deed, but we don't follow through. Sometimes we follow through and we get to the top, but we don't remain standing on that level. We fall back down again. So we have to make sure we reach the top, and we have to make sure we remain standing on the very top. There's a story, a true story about Lubavitcher Rebbe. He was a chassid from Belgium. His name was Feivel Shapiro. And he was from Belgium, and he came to America for business, and it was Purim, and he decided to go to the Farbrengen of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. After the Farbrengen, like 2 a.m, he was standing in the hallway as the Rebbe was going back into his office. And in Hasidic circles, he's non-Lubavitch, you give Shalom Aleichem to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe's walking by, and he puts out his hand. The Rebbe takes his hand, and to the amazement of everyone, the Rebbe holds his hand and leads him into his office. Comes into his office, everyone's shocked, including the Rebbe's assistants. Why is he bringing this Jew in? He takes this Hasidic Jew in his office. He says later what happened is he comes in the office, the Rebbe pulls up a chair and says, have a seat. The Rebbe goes to his drawer, takes out a key, goes to a cabinet, opens the cabinet, takes out a piece of paper and says in Yiddish, Nader, Lane, read this. He starts reading it, he starts shaking, he starts crying. It's a letter from his mother to the Rebbe. He was 12 years old when his mother died of breast cancer. And unbeknownst to him, before his mother died, she wrote a letter to Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he's reading this letter in his mother's handwriting. And his mother writes to the Rebbe and says, I'm sick. Doctors give me a little bit of time, not much. And my biggest concern is not myself, but I have 12 children, 5 sons and 7 daughters. And who's going to take care of my kids? So I'm not a Lubavitcher, but I'm writing to you, Rebbe. Please always pray for my children that they should grow up to be healthy and happy and God-fearing and good Jews. And he's reading this letter from his mother that he never knew was even sent. He was 12 years old. He was the second to oldest child. The oldest was 14. The youngest was a baby when his mother died. And now he's a grown man with his own family. He's reading this letter from his mother. He's so moved with his mother's plea to the Rebbe. When he finishes, he says to the Rebbe, can I keep this? I have very few of my mother's possessions. Can I take this with me? And the Rebbe says, Name, no. He says, may I ask why not? I would love to have this letter. And the Rebbe says, Yed Yar, every year, Farach Ge'ar up to Kol Nidrei, before I go begin Yom Kippur, the prayers of Kol Nidrei, Leinich the Mama's Briv, I read your mother's letter. Kena Sharab Gains to Kol Nidrei, I can't begin Kol Nidrei on Yom Kippur, Eider Lein the Mama's Briv, until I read your mother's letter. I need your mother's letter to read her letter before Yom Kippur. Imagine, you get a letter to pray for someone. Of course you pray. But 30 years later, the Rebbe is still praying every year for her family. That's what it means to not just touch the mountain, but keep on climbing higher and higher until you reach the very top of the mountain.